Hello everyone, welcome to our second webinar about Erasmus+. My name is Angelica Perra and I will present you the PowerPoint about the program Erasmus+. Let's share the PowerPoint on the screen. Okay. Last time we stopped before starting to talk in details about the actions of the program. So we will continue from this point. As we said, the Erasmus Plus program is divided into three actions, Key Action 1, Action 2, and Action 3. We also said that it can involve both young people and also people that are involved in education and training for adults. We have different kind of sub-actions under the actions that we considered. And starting from Key Action 1, we have mobility projects in the field of education, training and youth, large-scale European voluntary service, Erasmus Mundus joint master degree, and Erasmus Plus master degree loans. Concerning the field of education and training, we have actions that can involve higher education students and staff, vet learners and staff, school staff, and adult education staff. As I was mentioning last time, this PowerPoint serves to support you in understanding and reading the user guide. So cannot be, let's say, used directly from a person that doesn't know the user guide or is not following the user guide. It's just to help you in understanding how to use this guide. And for this reason, I also invite you to take the user guide next to you and to go deeper for any kind of further explanation that you would need regarding any of the topics that we are dealing in the PowerPoint. So in the mobility, in the field of mobility for education and training, as I was saying before, go back 1 second. We have the sectors of higher education, students and staff, and we start from this one. Then we will see which are the actions for vet learners and staff, then for school staff, and then adult education staff. So going back to our PowerPoint, our slides, we see that we explain what is meant by staff mobility. There could be a teaching period for higher education institution teaching staff, or a training period for professional for professionals' development of education, higher education institution. This could be teaching or non-teaching staff. And they could do training or job shadowing or observation periods, training in an institution, in another higher institution for education, or any other relevant organizations abroad. So it's a period of training or a teaching period. Same thing we can have for the student mobility. It works in the same way, but instead of being for teaching, it's for studying or to do an internship or work placement abroad after they finish the study. Who can participate? Let's say which are the organizations that can participate. We already said that it's dedicated to higher education institutions, and the role of the organization could be the one of applicant, of sending organization, receiving, and also intermediate organization. The specification of the different roles are mentioned in the slide, and if you want to have more details, also in the user guide. The applicant organization, we need to say that is the responsible of the organization management of the action of the project. So it's the one that is also responsible legally towards the national agency or the executive agency for any of the actions. In general, the same organization is the one that sends the staff or the students, and the receiving organization is the one that receives. The intermediary organization, instead, it's an organization that doesn't receive or send directly staff or students, but acts as coordinator to put together two different institutions. When we talk about student mobility, there are also some eligibility criteria that we have to take into consideration, and especially we need to know, for those that work in the NGO sector, that the association or the non-profit organizations can be only receiving organization when we talk about student mobility. Same thing when we talk about staff mobility. A non-profit organization, association, or NGO can have only a particular role, which is the one of sending organization for teaching and receiving organization for training. So two different roles. When it's possible to apply, there is only one deadline on the 4th of March, directly to the national agency in which the applicant organization is established. Concerning the funding rules, as you see here, we have some unit costs about organizational support and some real costs about special needs support. The unit costs are some costs that are directly linked to the implementation of the mobility activity, and they are decided in this way. 350 euro per participant that the organization receives, no matter time or other kind of expenditures. And for special need, they receive 100% of the eligible costs, but they have to be approved by the national agency. So, for example, if you have costs for people that have disabilities, you can put them in this budget line. There are some specific rules, and you can see here that we mentioned the pages where you can refer for mobility of students and for mobility of staff. When we talk about VET learners, we have more or less the same kind of activities that can be run. And we see there are teaching and training assignments, and they can refer for VET schools, staff of VET schools, or staff of enterprises. The staff of VET schools can go and teach at another VET school partner. The staff of enterprises can provide training in another VET organization. And then we have training that could be organized in an enterprise or in a VET organization. This is for staff mobility. For learners mobility, we have a VET traineeship, an internship that can last up to 12 months, and it's referred to apprentices and students that are in VET schools. Again, the role of the organization is the same as for the previous category. And the non-profit organization can be sending, hosting, and intermediary organization, but they can apply only if they are also a VET institution. And all these organizations, they must be established in the program country. Again, the deadline is the same for the previous category, and you have to apply directly to the national agency where you reside. The duration of the activity for learners mobility, it's from 2 weeks to 12 months, and for staff mobility, 2 days to 2 months, until 2 months. There are some specific rules that concern the funding, and you can find them starting from page 55 in the user guide. Another thing I wanted to tell you is that according to the edition of the user guide that you have, the pages could differ 1 or 2 numbers from the one that I'm telling you. But these are referred to the last version that was published last year in November. The third category is for school and education staff. And here we have for staff mobility, teaching assignments, and staff trainings. The role of the organization, this time we don't have coordinating organization, we have only the applicant, the sending and the receiving organization. And again, the non-profit organizations, the associations and NGOs can be receiving organization for the staff training activities. And again, they must be established in a program country. The deadline is the 4th of March of every year, and you have to apply to your national agency. The activity can last up to 2 months, and minimum they have to be 2 days long. Specific funding rules you can find starting from page 63. The category for adult and education staff provides the possibility of staff mobility, of teaching assignments and staff trainings. The role of the organization are the same of the previous category. And the participation of the organization, like NGOs, organizations, non-profit organization, association, is the one of receiving. So they can be receiving, or they can also be applicants and sending if they are active in the field of adult education. And again, they must be established in program countries. The deadline is the 4th of March. You apply to your national agency, and the duration of the activity is from 2 days up to 2 months. Specific funding rules you can find at page 70 of the user guide. Let's now talk about the field of youth. And here we have 2 different, let's say, categories again. One is referred to young people and the other one for youth workers. Let's say that both categories can take part to any of these sub-actions. But in general, for young people, we have the youth exchanges and the European Voluntary Service, and for youth workers, which are the people that are already involved in the youth work, and they work as trainers or as social workers. They can also participate to training courses, seminars, job shadowing, observation periods, contact making events, and study visits. The role of the organization is similar to the role of the organizations in the field of education and training. We have a coordinator, who is again the one that is applying the name of the partnership and has the legal responsibility in front of the national agency or of the executive agency. We have the sending organization, who has different roles, among which sending the young people and the youth workers abroad, preparing them before the departure, providing them support during all the phases of the project and so on. And the receiving organization is the one that hosts, in general, the activity and develops a program for the participants, prepares the content together with the sending organization, sometimes with the coordinator. The roles may also differ or be a little bit, let's say, more complicated according to the actions we are dealing with. Which are the organizations that can take part to this action? We have here a list, and in general, non-profit organizations, association NGOs, a European Youth NGO, which is, let's say, a network of organizations that work at European level, social enterprises, public bodies established at local, regional, national level, informal group of young people, associations of regions, European grouping of territorial cooperation, profit-making body active in corporate social responsibility. All these should be established in a program country or in a partner country neighboring the EU, only for some specific actions. And you can find these specificities in the user guide, because there are many criteria that should apply when they can be involved, and in general we can say that they can be involved if you prove that their role is necessary or it's adding a value to your project. But in general they cannot apply unless it's specified in a different way in the call for proposal. Just one little specification here for the informal group of young people. Being the organization that, for example, the applicant responsible also legally in front of the national agency, it should be better that this informal group established an organization if they want to apply, just for simplicity concerning the organizational management of the project. When to apply, the deadlines are 3, and the 4th of February, 30th of April, and the 1st of October of each year. At least they were like this for this year. Let's see if in January they will change some of these rules. And you apply to the national agency where your organization is established. Again, there are some specific rules for duties changes and EBS and mobility for youth workers. And here we have the pages where you can find the specific funding rules. As we mentioned, we have also a large-scale European Voluntary Service event. It's different from the European Voluntary Service that you know from the Youth in Action program. Here, with the, you can usually these projects support big events. And they having to involve at least 30 volunteers from the European Voluntary Service. Could be organized at European level or also worldwide. And here we have some examples where you can ask to participate to a large-scale volunteer project for World Youth Summits, for European Capitals of Cultures, and so on. There are the actions under the European Voluntary Service in large scale. They have to refer to specific actions, or they could be also some side activities. They could be complementary activities to the event. For example, you could organize conferences, seminars, meetings, and other workshops, but they have to have connection with the European Voluntary Service and with the event that you are organizing. Who can apply? As you see also here, any public or private organization that are established in one country, that are directly involved in the organization of the event, or that have signed a contract with the institution or organization that is the implementer of the event. Where to apply in this case only to the education, to the executive agency, to the Education of Digital Culture Executive Agency, and the deadline is the 1st of April, always at midday of the same year. The funding rules are shown on page 89 of the user guide. And passing to the key action tool, as you may remember from the previous webinar, they take into consideration the cooperation for innovation and exchange of good practices, and they are referred as the second step towards our path growing and acquiring more management in projects under Erasmus+. Here we have the strategic partnerships, the capacity building activities, the sector skill alliance, and the knowledge alliance. For the strategic partnership, as you may remember, they are aimed at supporting the development the implementation of innovative practices, and also the support the creation of long-lasting partnerships in a specific sector of your interest. You can have strategic partnerships in all the fields that we touched until now, so adult education, higher education, school education in the youth sector, and in vet. Who can participate? Again, any public or private organization that is established in a program country or in any partner country of the world. The same specification applies also here as for the mobility action, key action 1. You need to prove the importance of including a partner country in your project. We have 3 deadlines. 4th of February, 31st of March for the adults and 30th of April for youth, and then 1st of October. And you apply directly to your national agency. The budget that we have for a strategic partnership is €150,000 for 1-year project. And it goes every year 150,000. So if you make a project of 3 years, you can build a budget of €450,000. Then for the specifications, you need to check again for what are the kind of expenditures that you can have. You can put in your budget the headings in the user guide. The knowledge alliances, we said also that is to promote innovation capacity and to foster cooperation for innovation between the business sector and the education sector. Can participate any public or private organization that is established in a program country, and again also from partner country with the specification that we said before. The deadline is on the 26th of February, and nowadays I think in a month they are organizing in Brussels one information day to give you more information regarding the action. You apply directly to the executive agency. The budget is much higher than for the other actions. It's from €700,000 to €1 million for a 3 years project. This also giving you the idea of the importance of these actions and also the really few number of actions that can be approved with this budget. So you need to build a very strong partnership and project in order to get your idea approved, but it's not difficult. With the sector skill alliances is similar to the knowledge alliances, but here you're aiming at tackling skill gaps and to create partnerships that are stable for innovation in a particular sector of the market, to fill the gaps and to open the possibilities to people to enter the labor market. The organizations that can take part are the same as before, and also here you have to apply until the 26th of February to the executive agency. The budget is the same but for the knowledge alliance. And then we have the fourth action of the key action 2, which is the capacity building. And also here we have higher education, capacity building, and the youth sector. In the field of youth, we said what is it for, but you can have here another summary to refresh your memory. And then the specification that we have for this capacity building in the field of youth is that also Balkans can apply. The difference is that while for the countries that are European countries, for the Europe 28, they can apply to organize projects with countries that are outside Europe, so out of the Europe zone. Instead, for Balkans, they have to organize projects with Europe. And there are also some other specifications, like for example that European countries they have to give priority to the actions that are going to build capacity. Instead, for the Balkans organizations, they have to give priority to the mobility actions. More specifications you can find in the user guide. How is it structured? As I was saying, there is one part of capacity building activities where you have to organize actions to encourage policy dialogue, cooperation, networking, exchange of good practices, large-scale youth events, information and awareness campaign, develop information, communication media tools, open and flexible learning materials, open educational resources, and so on. This to build capacity in the place where you're going to organize your project. And the second part of the action is the one that is related to mobility activities. And here we have our usual activities that for mobility, youth exchanges, EVS, mobility of youth workers. There are 2 deadlines per year. One is on the 1st of April and the second on the 2nd of September. Or on the 1st of September, depends on the year. We apply directly to the executive agency. The budget is maximum 150,000 euro. And then the last actions that we have is the support for policy reforms. Here we have the structural dialogue, where you put together young people and decision makers. Then we have knowledge in the fields of education, training, and youth. You can organize a country's analysis about certain specific topics that are important for youth, peer learning. And then we have initiative for policy innovation to develop new policies or prepare their implementation. That could be together with public institutions, higher education institutions, and the first sector, for example, or cooperation with international organizations. Big organizations like the Council of Europe or the OECD. Let's say that in this key action, the one that has a fixed call is the structural dialogue. Then the others are organized and published directly by the executive agency from time to time. Here we have some examples of activities that you can organize under the structural dialogue. The organizations that can participate are, again, non-profit organizations, associations, NGO, European and Youth NGO, public bodies, and at local or regional level, and also the organizations that are established in a foreign country can apply. These partners, Balkans, Caucasus, Media, and Russia, can be partners. The deadlines are 4th of February, 30th of April, and the 1st of October for the structural dialogue, and apply directly to the national agency. Indeed, for the other actions, one little problem with the computer. The actions that are not structural dialogue, but the key action 3, you can apply directly to the executive agency only when they publish the calls. Okay. We have arrived to our last slide. So, okay, here we are again. I thank you for your attention, and just would like to remind you to follow us on our website for the next webinars, or if you'd like to have any other information about the activities that we do at TDM International, you can also check on our Facebook. Thank you for your attention. Bye.